show. The shirt is off the cuff. Welcome back. Welcome back, everybody. Oh, it's so good to be back. As always, I know we always wonder why does Joe occasionally take so much time in between shows? Why does he do that? Why does he deprive us of his wisdom, of his insight, of the utter bullshit that dribbles from his lips? Well, like everybody else, I've been busy. I've been working a lot more lately. Trying to make the money, and that's important because as you guys know, for about 2.5 years, I wasn't making the money, and that led to a lot of stress in my overall daily life. And so now I'm making the money again, and I want to continue that trend. And I've just been busy, and you know how it all is. You guys all know, after a day of work, you put in your 6, 8, 10, 12 hours of work. You come home, you barely have enough energy to watch TV. You barely have enough energy to acknowledge the one you love and your kids and your household chores and your obligations to friends and family and church. And after all that, do you really have the drive to be creative? It's difficult, even for creative types. When you have a job, it's just hard to get back to it. That's all there is to it. And I am not immune to the realities of life. I deal with it on a daily basis, mostly with beer. But I deal. Welcome back, everybody. It's good to be back. It always is. I always, every time I do a show after not doing a show for a long time, and this last time was about 3 weeks, almost a month. I as soon as I start talking to you guys, I begin to wonder, why don't I do this more often? It's good for me, But like all of us, I drown in daily life, and it's a tough one. It's a tough one for a lot of people. But before I continue, quick shout-outs for people that I know and care about. My buddy Kawhi, it's his birthday today. He is 31 years old. One of the nicest, sweetest, nasty human beings I've ever met in my life. He really, really is. I mean, you meet this guy, he's all like flowers and sunshine and unicorns and rainbows, but he's got a dark side to him. And I'm going to remember to give him a call or a text or an email or something to wish him a happy birthday. Let's see what else is going on. It seems like people are leaving. Not me in particular, but just leaving in general. I have a very good friend of mine over in Missouri. She has been putting it out there that she and her hubby, Mr. Sharp, and their 2.5 kids are planning on leaving the good old U.S. of A. and moving to Mexico. Excuse me, not Florida. Well, it's like Mexico, sort of. But they're planning on moving to Mexico. At least that's what I've gleaned from their Facebook pages. And I will miss them. I mean, I haven't seen her in years, and I've never met Mr. Sharp, who seems like a really, all right kind of guy. And I've never had the opportunity to meet her 2.5 children. I say 2.5 because she has 2 boys and another on the way, which I believe is supposed to be a girl this time around. Who knows? But my best wishes towards them. I wish them the best of luck. I know that they've had some tough times in the last years. Dealing with friends, family, finances, the 3 Fs, friends, family, finances, and it's been tough for them, because I know that they've dealt with people that are less than sincere with them, people who, pretend that they care, pretend that they're friends, pretend that they're there for them, and then they're not, which is, good for people like me, because I know I don't pretend to be there for people when they really need me to be there for them. But if I can be there for them, I will be, but I don't pretend that I'm there for them at all times. Look at me. Look how selfish I am. I'm talking about my friend, and now I make it all about me. That's how selfish of a son of a bitch I am. Anyway. A lot of stuff going on in the world. Oh, my God. And as you can guess, I want to talk about Suge Knight. Now, Suge Knight is one of the founding members and of Death Row Records. Him and Dr. Dre and Ice Cube and all that old crew from way back when, NWA, that kind of shit. They started they were very instrumental in the gangster rap world, for bringing out gangster rap to the public at large, which amazingly enough, not just inner city blacks and Latinos got into, but you know what? Suburban white kids really got into. Thus, you had white boys driving lowriders and wearing sweatsuits with big fake gold medallions. It was just ridiculous, is what they were doing, but they did it anyway. Now, Suge Knight comes from a gangster rap background, and hey, mad props to him. Okay, mad props, but he can't let go of his gangster rap background. Unlike, say, Dr. Dre, who has gone on to much bigger and better things musically, financially, as an entrepreneur. I mean, he's doing all right, He's doing just fine in his enterprises. And you have Ice Cube, who, amazingly enough, has built quite the career as a comedic actor. I mean, you got Friday, you got Are We There Yet? The Ride Along. I mean, he's doing, really just easy, soft comedy. He doesn't come off as gangster rap anymore. I mean, yeah, when he does interviews, he tries to, but at the same time, he's still softening himself when he does it. Suge Knight apparently cannot escape this. You may have heard that Suge, also known as Marion Suge Knight, that's his first name, Marion. Is it Marion or Marlon? I think it's Marion. Anyway, either way, has had trouble with the law for quite some years. First big run-in with the law that we know, famous one before, this after all the gangster stuff he used to do, was he was driving the car that Tupac Shakur was shot and killed in. He was shot in, and then a week later Tupac died. But Suge was driving the car. Not that has anything to do with it, but it could be associated with it. Who knows? Now, Suge has been now charged with murder and attempted murder. This happened just the other week. Apparently, he got into some sort of argument with one of his associates, and then ran him over with a car. Well, officially, it was his Ford F-150 light truck that he ran them over with. Him and another man. Let's see here. Former rap mogul Marion Suge Knight pleaded not guilty Tuesday to murder and attempted murder charges during a brief appearance in a Compton courtroom. According to this, moments after he was taken to a local hospital for undisclosed medical reasons. He was complaining about chest pains. Knight faces a possible life prison sentence in a case that stems from a violent encounter in the parking lot of the Tams Burgers in Compton last week. Los Angeles County Sheriff deputies say Knight ran over Terry Carter, 55, and Clay Bone Sloan, 51, after a fight. Now, according to Suge's attorney, quote, he feels bad that somebody is deceased. said David Kenner. It's not his fault. From what I understand, he was being attacked and trying to get away from the attack. Yes, he was trying to get away from the attack when he threw his car into reverse and ran over the two guys. Now, here's the funny part. He was only in a fight. He was only in an argument with one of the guys. Okay? The other guy had nothing to do with what was going on. But the guy that he was in the argument with was merely injured. He's got a mangled foot and a couple of broken bones. But the guy that had nothing to do with the fight is the one that Suge ended up killing. Now, according to this, Knight has 2 strikes under the state's 3 strikes law. Both are convictions for assault with a deadly weapon. He was out on bail. He was out on bail when he ran these 2 guys over on a robbery charge when what's his name? Carter was killed. Terry Carter, 55. Terry Carter had nothing to do with the argument. From what we understand, Suge was trying to run over Clay Bone Sloan when he hit both of them and ended up killing the wrong guy. Now, according to this, according to what I have in front of me, despite the fact that Suge is claiming that he was only trying to get away, wasn't trying to hit anybody, he was just trying to get away from what he reports as 4 guys jumping him in the parking lot. So what am I supposed to understand here is that 4 guys jumped Suge Knight in a parking lot. He got away from them, got into his truck, and then while trying to escape, ran over 2 guys. The other 2 guys of the alleged 4, nowhere to be seen. Now, according to a 911 caller, a woman who claims that she, witnessed the entire event, this is a quote now. The car ran over 2 guys. They were fighting, and then he just pulled back and pulled forward and run them over. This was close to the set of a biopic sort of documentary known as Straight Outta Compton. They were doing a commercial for the documentary, which details the rise and fall of Death Row Records and gangster rap from the 80s and early 90s. Suge Knight, 49 years old, has been charged with murder and attempted murder in connection with the incidents. Authorities said that Knight used his Ford F-150 pickup truck to deliberately run over Terry Carter, 55, and Clay Bone Sloan, 51. His attorneys still maintain that he was not trying to injure them, but was merely trying to get away. Now, as for Suge's 2 previous strikes, both are connected with convictions for assault. Now, some of you may remember, Suge was sentenced to 9 years in prison in 1996. Let's see, 1996. Oh, no, hold on. This is the Tupac Shakur bit. Knight was at the wheel of a BMW in Las Vegas when rapper Tupac Shakur was a passenger, was shot. Shakur died a week later, and the case has not been solved. Now, Knight served time behind bars for assaults. Also, in August, he and 2 others were shot inside a packed West Hollywood nightclub at a party hosted by singer Chris Brown. In October, Knight and comedian Micah Cat Williams were charged with robbery after authorities accused them of stealing a photographer's camera. Knight faced 30 years to life in prison in that case, but he was released on bail. Suge just cannot stay out of trouble. I mean, he was out on bail when he ran these 2 guys over. You know what? Before I continue, it's time to take a break. Go figure. Today's music is brought to you by several artists. Our first one was by Hotel Hunger and their song Sympathy. Now we have Crowding Out Effect with their song Wait. I'm Joe the Shirt. I'm off the cuff, and I'll be right back. show. The shirt is still off the cuff. Welcome back. Poor Suge Knight. What? It just seems like nothing goes right for him, you know? If he steals something, he gets caught. If he runs somebody over with his car, he gets caught. And if he goes to a club, he gets shot at. I mean, what the hell is wrong with Suge Knight? Why can he not stay out of trouble? I don't know. A lot of things going on in the world that I'd like to talk about. Okay, did you guys watch the Super Bowl? I know I did. The reason I know that I watched the Super Bowl is because I was actually awake and aware and alert the entire game. In other words, I was sober, which is quite the rarity for Super Bowl Sunday for me. The lady and I decided to keep it real simple. We just made a few snacks for ourselves, and we had mixed drinks, and we barely drank that day. I think for the entire Super Bowl Sunday, I maybe had 5 drinks, which for a Super Bowl Sunday is not jack or shit. Okay. But and for the first time ever that I can recall, the game was actually better than the commercials. Those were some of those depressing commercials I've ever seen in my fucking life for Super Bowl Sunday. And I haven't seen any of them since on TV, by the way. Okay? At $4.5 million for a 30-second spot, those are some of the worst, most depressing commercials I've ever seen in my fucking life. Okay? And look, I'll be the first one to tell you, it's not that the messages they're trying to send to you aren't important. It's just I just didn't feel they were appropriate for Super Bowl Sunday. Okay? Okay, let's go over a couple of the ones that I'm talking about here. Let's see, there was the one for obesity, which was very depressing. You know, it's like, you know, how to control your obesity, you know, how to control childhood obesity, how to control adult obesity, and I'm just like, you are putting on this commercial on the second biggest eating holiday of the year. Okay, I know officially speaking, Super Bowl Sunday is not a holiday, but let's be real. We treat it like it's one. Okay? And the only holiday that people eat more food at is Thanksgiving. Only Thanksgiving, outpaces Super Bowl Sunday for eating food. All right? That's it. Okay? Super Bowl Sunday is the number 2 eating day of the year. More people eat on Super Bowl Sunday than any other holiday of the year except for Thanksgiving. Okay? And while I'm eating my wings and my pizza and my nachos, I do not want to see a fucking commercial about obesity. I know that the people that came up with the commercial probably think, well, this is a perfect time because we're trying to send a message to you fat fucks out there. You know what? No, fuck you. I want to eat my nachos. Okay? I want to eat my pizza. I want to eat my goddamn deep dish pizza with my pepperoni and my sausage and my mushrooms and my bacon and my hamburger. Right on all of it, right on the pizza. And then throw in some extra fucking cheese. But yeah, I was pissed off. I was like, fuck you. Okay, and the commercial about, accidental child deaths. Not saying that it's not an important message, you know. We want to prevent children from dying stupidly in your home, which is, let's face facts, if your child dies stupid in your house, it's most likely your fault, you know. But, and yes, they are preventable. You know what? Yeah, sure. You know, if you're giving your kid a bath, you might want to stay with the kid. You know what? If your kid is playing with the silverware, make sure he knows not to put it into the hole in the wall, also known as, you know, the socket there. You know, don't do that. You know, but and these are important messages, yes. And but generally speaking, I think that most people already know all this shit. They know that they should teach their children, don't be stupid. I mean, but accidental deaths are going to happen. You know what? Every adult on the planet could be informed about the dangers of accidental child death. Every person on the planet. And every person on the planet can instruct their children how to, behave themselves so as to not accidentally die. And they could all keep an eye on their children 24/7. But you know what? Sooner or later, some kid is going to do something and he's going to get killed. It's going to happen. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying that's a justification. I'm just saying that I don't want to see this fucking commercial while I'm trying to enjoy football. And while we're at it, let's talk about the commercials, that were all about spousal abuse. Now, I know that the NFL has had a hard time with that. A couple of players, were accused of beating their wives. One was caught on video in the elevator. Okay, that's wrong. I shouldn't laugh at that. Okay, I'm not laughing at the fact that this guy beat his wife. I'm laughing at the fact that it was caught on video. I mean, he cold-cocked her hard. He's a big motherfucker, too. She was a little bitch, and he just knocked her out. And then couldn't find the strength to move her out of the elevator. I don't know what that's about. But yeah, again, not a commercial I want to see during my Super Bowl Sunday. I want to enjoy football. I want to see commercials with puppies and horses and beer and fast cars and that kind of shit, and it's funny stuff, stupid shit. That's what I want to see from my commercials. I mean, even the car ads were depressing. That Nissan ad that played Cats in the Cradle, Cats in the Cradle with a silver spoon, little boy blue and the man. What a depressing fucking song. And the commercial was depressing. Right up until the end. The commercial was all about a race car driver for Nissan, who's married. Him and his wife have a kid. It's a son. And because he has to go to work, he's not around to spend time with his kid. The kid gets resentful, yada, yada, yada. But, all I'm thinking to myself is, this isn't like a dad that has a normal office job where he can afford to spend time at home. He can go to work and he can come home and spend time with his family. This is talking about a race car driver. First of all, if I was 8 years old, and I would have a wild hard-on telling all my friends, yeah, my dad's a race car driver. What's yours do? He's a CEO of Who Gives a Shit? Yeah, company? Yeah, whatever the fuck. Yeah, my dad's a race car driver, all right? Fuck you. And then at the end, of course, dad shows up at the end to pick up his kid at school. But by that time, you're already depressed. Okay? No, I do not want to see depressing commercials during my Super Bowl Sunday. I do not. And a good friend of mine was the first one to point out, he's like, why the fuck do you watch the game? You don't even like football. I'm like, no, I really, for the most part, don't. But I like a good competitive game. I do like sports. I like the commercials. I'll be the first one to admit that, except for this year. And, it's an event that me and my girlfriend, we can do something that we don't normally do. We're making chili. We're making nachos. We're making wings. We're doing all this, we're making all the kind of food that we know is not good for us, that we almost never get to make. But this, it's a holiday sort of, so we're going to make it. But, lost my train of thought. Who'd have thought? But no, I don't want to see these kind of commercials. I want to be entertained. I want to be able to enjoy myself. Yes, and the other reason I watched the Super Bowl is because my girlfriend and I, we had money on the game, and we bought some squares from her company, and we lost each and every single quarter. Didn't make a dime. Lost money. Just this year it was one of our worst years for gambling on football. Actually, we only in the football pool from her job, we only won once. And even that time, it wasn't all that great a win because I ended up tying with somebody else. So I had to split the pot. So that sucked ass. Now, something in an article from the LA Times, which is not really a surprising article. Get this now. They've determined that data shows that there's a 77% increase in alcohol-related accidents on Super Bowl Sunday. Wow. They had to do a study to figure that one out. Now, according to California safety officials and the Auto Club of Southern California, 5 years of California crash data showed that there's a 77% increase in alcohol-related crashes causing injury or death on Super Bowl Sunday. In some communities, such as San Diego, the number of drunk driving crashes more than doubled. The data also showed that crash rates increased on any NFL game, not just Super Bowl Sunday. The rate of collision claims from zip codes around NFL stadiums is higher on days when the home team loses or ties. Now, let's go back to that. If you happen to have a football stadium, a professional football stadium in your town, which means you have a professional team in your town, on the days that your team loses or ties, there are more accidents than on the days that they win. Okay? They estimate that when the home team loses or ties, the frequency of auto insurance claims rose 9% compared to other days. Whereas if the team wins, there's only a 3% increase in the number of crashes. There's also some evidence that traffic collisions involving pizza delivery vehicles rise on Super Bowl Sundays. Like, wow, really? Pizza delivery vehicles get into more accidents on Super Bowl Sundays than, any other days. Because Super Bowl is the largest pizza delivery day of the year, bar none. People do not order more pizza on any other day than on Super Bowl Sunday. According to Domino's Pizza, for example, they expected to deliver 1.5 million pizzas on Sunday, a 79% increase over a non-football Sunday. So it's almost double their normal deliveries, which means, of course, that the drivers are out there more. They're out there delivering more pizzas. They're getting a lot more orders. And there's also a really good chance that their drivers are also drunk. A 2012 study from the Fireman's Fund insurance carrier found that pizza-related claims on Super Bowl Sundays rose 9% over every other day, and the crashes were more severe, averaging a 19% increase in dollar damages over similar claims on other days. So, if you're ordering a pizza on Super Bowl Sunday, there's a good chance the delivery guy's gonna die. Just saying. Okay, let's see a couple of quick stories for the next break. If you happen to know anything about Radio Shack, well, then you may have heard that they are planning on closing a lot of their stores. Roughly 1,750 Radio Shack stores are planning on closing, filing under Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection on this past Thursday. Of those, 175 of them are right here in California. About 10% of all the proposed closings of Radio Shacks are going to happen right here in California, which is kind of sad because I think Radio Shack filled a particular need for the longest time. The need of going out and just getting an essential piece of equipment, be it a cable, be it a transmitter, a set of antennas, some HDMI cables. Something that you need it now, and you need it on the cheap. Radio Shack, it was there, and that, and of course, remote control cars, But they're going the way of the dodo. Radio Shack has been trying to close its stores for over a year now, but the people that own the loans to Radio Shack have prevented them from filing Chapter 11 up until recently because they want to get their money. Well, that's come and done. So you guys out there, get ready to say goodbye to Radio Shack. All right? And before we take our break, one more now. If you love Las Vegas the way I do, then you will know that you were among the 41.1 million visitors that went to Las Vegas last year. The Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority said visits climbed 3.7% from the 39.7 million in 2013. About 5.2 million visitors attended one or more of the 2,103 conventions held last year. Las Vegas, baby. It's getting this is a record breaker. Over 41 million people went to Las Vegas last year. I was among them. And it's time for a break. I'm Joe the Shirt. I'm off the cuff. Here's more music, this time from Futura Banda and their song Ultimamente. Ultimamente by Futura Banda. I'm Joe Shirt and I'm off the cuff. Welcome back, everybody. Oh, so much fun. I'm having so much fun. I love the sound of my own voice. I truly do. I really do. Okay, now. What's going on? I got a bunch of stories here. I want to try to get through them here. It's just good to be back. I'm glad to be back. I always am. You know, I always wonder, why do I wait so long to get back? The answer to that is the devil made me do it. But let's talk about the other side of the devil. Let's talk a little bit about the Pope, the friggin' Pope. You know what I'm talking about? Pope Francis. You know, he's a Pope. He's the fucking Pope. You know what I'm saying now? Apparently, he's in the news for a couple of reasons. First reason being that come September, I think September 22nd, the Pope Francis, mind you, is going to address Congress for the first time in papal history. According to the LA Times for Washington, D.C., Pope Francis will address a joint session of Congress in September, the first head of the Roman Catholic Church to do so. The Pope will arrive in Washington on September 22nd and meet with President Obama at the White House the next morning. The Catholic News Agency reported last month. He will address Congress on September 24th. So let's. I can't wait to hear what the Pope has to say to Congress. I mean, this is a first. This is historic. I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna listen. I mean, I'm not gonna care, but I'm gonna do it anyway. But what's more interesting to me now is that the Pope is being scolded. Because a group of child abuse experts summoned by Pope Francis to help tackle abuse by priests in the Roman Catholic Church has criticized remarks made by the Pope in which he suggested it was okay for parents to spank their children. Now, before I go any further, I agree with that. I think it is okay for parents to spank their children. I do not agree with the modern view that it is never correct to spank your child. I believe that children really need to understand the concept of consequences for their actions. Now, I'm not saying beat your child. A beating and a spanking are two different things, okay? But you know what? A child has a very simple mind. Not that, different from a dog's. You know, and people also talk about, you shouldn't beat your dog. And you shouldn't beat your dog. But you can discipline your dog, okay? And if you need to give your dog a little spank on the ass every once in a while, you do it. And you may have noticed the average dog that gets a little spank of the ass every once in a while is not that worse for wear. I've had my dog Jack now for over 10 years. Every once in a while, I smack him in the ass when he's acting like the ass. And you know what? Then he does what I want him to do. And then later on, he comes back and licks my face. I do believe that children can learn from a little spanking. I don't believe in beating, because a beating and a spanking are two very different things. A beating is angry, it's abusive, and it's excessive. A spanking is it's just a little more severe than a warning. But you know what? When you warn your child, when you try to reason with your child, you are fighting a losing battle most of the time. Because kids really don't care about what you have to say until, they get a result from your words, from your threats. I am not a parent, so I don't pretend to know everything. I'm speaking from my own experiences. The times that I got a spanking, I learned certain behavior was unacceptable. Now, the times when I was a kid and I got a beating from my stepfather, I didn't learn a damn fucking thing. All I learned that he was a bully and he was hurting me without any real reason for it, without explaining to me what it was I had done wrong. We continue, though, with the Pope. Two members of the 17-member commission holding its first full meeting at the Vatican said Saturday that they objected to Francis's comments Wednesday in which he backed corporal punishment. Leading British anti-abuse campaigner Peter Saunders, abused by two Catholic priests as a child, hello agenda, said the committee would ask the Pope to reconsider his remarks. You know what? Go ahead and ask him. I hope he tells you to go fuck yourself. According to Peter here, that's what it's about. Quote, and there is no place in this day and age for having physical punishment, for inflicting pain in terms of how you discipline your children. Again, I disagree. Another quote from one of the other commission members, Kristen Winter Green from New Zealand, said, quote, there was to be a positive parenting in a different way. And now a quote from the Pope. Once in a marriage counseling session, I heard a father say, sometimes I need to hit my children a bit, but never in the face to avoid humiliating. Quote, that's great, end quote, said Francis. Quote, he has a sense of dignity. He needs to punish, do the right thing, and move on. Now, according to the off-the-cuff remark was just the latest by Francis to create controversy. Last month he said that anyone who insulted his mother could expect a punch. This was in reference to a comment in connection with the killings of Islamic fundamentalists in Paris of cartoonists who had satirized Islam. Now, according to an interview with Germany's Die White, Germany's Minister for the Family, Manuela Schweig said, there is no way of hitting children with dignity. Sure there is. It's on the ass. You hit kid in the face, it's not dignified. You hit kid in the limbs, not dignified. You hit kids in the genitals, bad idea. But you know what? The ass is fatty, just enough nerve endings to send the message, but unlikely to be seriously hurt or bruised. You know what? Your kid acts the ass, you smack him in the ass. That's where I'm going with that, okay? Oh, my God. What's going on here? What else do we got? A couple of quick stories here before we get out of here for the day. According to the LA Times, the average theater ticket price, the price you pay to go see a movie in the United States, is $8.17. Where? Where the fuck is that the average price? It's not here in Los Angeles. I'm telling you that right now. Cheapest movie theater ticket I can find in LA right now is at least $8.50. Not $8.17. If it was $8.17, I'd be happy to pay for it. But, you know, the average movie ticket, say, at the AMC Century City is $14.50. That's average. Now, I know that other parts of the country, you know, it's much lower. Like, for instance, let's see, at the AMC Oakview Plaza in Omaha, the cost of an adult movie ticket at night is $6.73 on average. Now, this represents the highest movie ticket average in American history. In other news, I don't know if you've heard of Warren Lee Hills. Warren Lee Hills is a former Navy petty officer who was sentenced to life in prison in 1986 for shooting and killing his 18-year-old girlfriend, Myra Wright. 4 years later, he used a nail-studded board to batter to death his fellow inmate, Joseph Hanspike. A jury then sentenced him to death. Now, why am I bringing this up? Well, obviously, like most, mind you, he was executed, lethal injection. Like most capital cases like this, there were a bunch of appeals, there were a bunch of trials, there were a bunch of court appearances to try to save this guy's life, even though, you know, he's double murderer. Now, the reason they came up with why he should be, why he should not be executed was because he has an IQ of 70. 70. I'm pretty sure my dog has a higher IQ than 70. When you consider that the average IQ is 100, 70, well, that's just stupid. Now, mind you, Warren himself never proposed this as a defense. He never claimed to be mentally disabled because he has a low IQ. That was his lawyer's way of trying to get him off. And on this one, I have to say, I don't give a shit if you're stupid. I really don't. Obviously, you shot and killed your girlfriend, and then you beat another man to death. Now, maybe, you know what? You're in prison. Who knows what was going on? Maybe the fellow inmate was threatening him. Maybe he felt endangered for his life. In prison, all bets are off. But, when he shot and killed his girlfriend, I'm pretty sure he was just being an asshole. He was being a criminal. He was angry, and he took it out on his girlfriend. Okay, then. You get arrested, you get convicted, you go to prison. There you go. You commit another crime, you're considered irredeemable, you get the death penalty. Great. I'm fine with that. The fact that you're stupid is not an excuse. Just like the fact that somebody's crazy, not an excuse to me. The fact that you may be mentally challenged, don't give a shit. You know what? You are not capable of existing in a modern society. You're just not. You're not. You got to weed them out. As I've always said, in the animal kingdom, when an individual of a animal society acts in a way that works against his society, the fellow members of his society, typically what happens is the other members of his society either force that individual out of the society or they kill them. I don't have a problem with this. You know what? You're crazy. You committed murder. Fuck you. You get to die. You're stupid. You commit murder. Fuck you. You get to die. That's how I see it. I don't see it. I don't see excuses here. I don't think this is an excuse. I don't think this is a reason. I think that you did the crime. He knew what he was doing. The fact that he's stupid, the fact that he can't, do algebra does not, affect whether or not he's guilty of murder. That's it for me today, actually. I'm out of time. My God. It always passes by so quickly, And that's it. Thank you for listening in. I appreciate your time. And by the way, listen in for my next show. It's going to be all about animals. It's going to be nothing but animal stories. All right? So wait for that. Next show, nothing but animals. Animal stories and how they affect us. We got one more song here. It's called by Arabico and their song Damash. Or maybe, no, it's Damash and their song Arabico. I'm Joe the Shirt, and I've been off the cuff. See you next time.